serious issues which the nation is facing, and
this is very serious. Krishna was a good driver.
No, I mean this is the lighter side, but coming to the serious issues which our country is facing right now, and I would like to start with the water scarcity. Last year you held a very big rally on the rivers. How far it has progressed, I would like to know on that, and then I'll come to you about the water scarcity which the country is facing.
See, water scarcity in the country is far more dire than most people understand and we would like to admit. It's far more serious. Unfortunately, we're just going on as if some miracle will happen. No, miracle won't happen, but we can turn it around, we can perform the miracle if all of us are committed to it. About Rally for Rivers, as you know, it gathered 162 million people supporting the movement, which is a never-before thing in India, that so many people stood up. So why such a thing happened? Because it's been on everybody's minds. Everybody knows that something needs to be done, but they needed a fool to… who is to bell the cat? You understand? You need a fool to bell the cat, so here I am.
But, talking to you about this recent report of Niti Ayog which came in and which said that in the next 2 years, some 11 urban cities will really be facing a very big problem as far as water scarcity is concerned. How do you tackle this issue? Of course, the government is working on it, but things don't somehow seem to be very visible.
We must fundamentally understand this. There is no magic wand solution. What is our basic situation? We must understand this. We have precipitation in this country, largely during monsoon times. Our rainfall is approximately 45 to 50 days per year. So the water that comes down in 45 to 50 days, you must hold it in the ground for 365 days. All kinds of genius solutions are being talked about, but I'm telling you, the only and only way you can hold the water is by keeping the soil organically rich, and substantial amount of our land should be in shade, and there must be a lot of bioactivity. This is the only way you can hold it. People are talking about check dams, this dam, that dam. Well, somewhere for flood mitigation if you do something, it's fine, but that's not a solution. You cannot hold water by building dams. Just to give you what we have done, Ganga basin, for example, because Ganga is in everybody's mind, it accounts for 25% of India's geography and 33% of India's agricultural activity. But in the last 50 years, we have removed 94% of tree cover. What is the plan? Looks like we don't want to run the nation.
But Sadhguru, this of course is leading to a very serious environmental problem as well. But how do you really balance the environment and the developmental activities?
See, they're not against each other. No, they're not against each other. This is the fundamental of Rally for Rivers. Economy versus ecology. If you go like this, economy will win anyway. It is very important… I openly said I am going to officiate a marriage between ecology and economy, because unless ecological activity is economically sensible, it is not going to work, especially in a country like this where there is such a big population pressure. About Rally for Rivers, what has happened? Well, a whole lot of recommendations we made, the government is already making it into a policy. It is coming in bits and pieces, but it is moving rapidly. One important thing is 84% of our water is used for agriculture. We are the oldest agricultural nation on the planet. In the south, in Tamil Nadu, we have a history of 12,000 years of agricultural practices. But we are still farming as we did 1,000 years ago. Now if you want to micro-irrigate, if you micro-irrigate, this 84% of the water you're consuming, you can bring it down to 30 to 40% of what you're consuming right now. But how do you micro-irrigate land when land ownership is only 1 hectare on an average? 2¼ acres per person. It just doesn't work. And a whole lot of people are doing micro-irrigation. After 2 years, they'll rip it out because it doesn't work for them. We have to aggregate irrigation. This is what we are pushing for right now. All of you media should push for this. We changed one fundamental law, we made a request and immediately it was changed. There was a 30% tax for FPO. FPO means a farmers' producers organization. Right. Individual farmer is not taxed, but if they get together for farming activity, they're taxed 30%, so they will never get together. If you do not scale up the land, You cannot bring in technology.
Absolutely.
So if you integrate irrigation, one reason why so many farmers are committing suicide, in the last 10 years, 300,000 farmers have committed suicide. All the 4 wars we have had has not killed that many people. And we can't close our eyes to this. This is not a small thing.
But where are the political parties going wrong? Because I'm not naming a particular party A, B or C, but farmers' distress or the rural distress is something which the political parties have not been able to get the hang of it.
The problem is, in a democratic system, right now, I'm not blaming you, but because of the media 24/7, there is an election happening in Nagaland. But when I watch the news, it feels like it's a national election. So throughout the year, there's an election. When there is an election, obviously political parties go into a different kind of rhetoric, because they have to win the election. Even if they wish to… genuinely, if they wish to do something, still they have to win the election, there is no other way. So they will all get into competitive rhetoric, where the real issues are completely lost. So I pushed for this almost 8–9 years ago. I'm very happy that today Prime Minister is talking about it, many others are talking about it. One election, once in 5 years. Rest of the time, let's build a nation. Once in 5 years we can fight as much as we want, to our heart's content. But rest of the time, there are things to do in the country. Still 500 million people have not eaten properly.
Absolutely. You just spoke, Sadhguru, about elections, and these days we see that a lot of religious gurus have started playing an active role in elections. But there is also a feeling that why should religious gurus get into the electoral process? Why should they campaign? Why should they endorse for a particular party? What is your feeling about this whole thing?
If a democracy has to be genuinely democracy, a genuine democracy or a successful democracy, individual human beings should think for themselves and vote. Even in a family, you should not influence your family as to who they should vote for. That's how I live. I don't even tell my daughter who she should vote for, because she should think for herself. If she wants information, I will tell her this is what has happened, but I will not tell her you vote for this. All the people who follow me, they will all ask, Sadhguru, who should we vote for? So use your brains.
But what you say and what you prescribe on the voting pattern, isn't it something which is divergent from the majoritarian thinking?
No, why
of
I
our
will come
country?
to that. I'm saying if you want a successful democracy, this is how it should be. Otherwise, you have feudalism. Anybody who does en masse voting, whether because you're a religious guru or a spiritual guru or you belong to this community or that community, once en masse voting happens, you're practicing feudalism in the form of democracy. This is not a positive story.
But often there are reports that, you know, a particular religious guru or a Baba has about 5 lakh followers, and, you know, the political parties or the leaders don't want to annoy him at all because they carry a huge vote bank for themselves.
I have given up that advantage by saying this because I will never tell people to whom to vote for. But it's for people to evaluate, not vote emotionally. See, first of all, voting on the basis of caste, religion and even party, that you are stuck in one party, is feudalism. Every time, 5 years you must evaluate what have they done. Have they done good for the country? Yes, bring them back. They have not done good for the country, take them out. This is democracy. If you vote on party lines, caste lines, religious lines, this means you're bringing back feudalism. You can as well have monarchy. Why all this trouble of election?
Absolutely. If you look at the current political narrative, the general elections are not far away, but the narrative which is evolving is more not developmental, though Prime Minister Narendra Modi keeps talking about the development politics, the politics of performance. But despite that, we see the regional parties, the smaller parties, they are involved into very myopic issues. You know, for example, they talk more about ideology, it's about secularism versus communalism, and a whole lot of other XYZ issues.
See, unfortunately, they're able to create a certain emotion about small local issues which are of no consequence for the nation. Those issues should not even exist. But unfortunately, local issues become an emotional process and people are using that. This is why I'm saying, if you have only one election, people have more time to think and evaluate. Every 2 months an election is happening, something. A by-election is happening, it looks like a national election on the television.
That's true.
So this has to change, because in a country like India, where our economics are not great for 1.3 billion people, we don't have a great economic output. In a country like India, which is striving to develop, too much rhetoric is not going to work for us. We will waste our time. A whole lot of people seem to be filling their bellies just by talking. It's time we do something. This is our time. In the next 10, 15 years' time, if we genuinely don't turn the economy around in a big way, we might have missed the bus, because in the world many things will change. The advantages we have right now of a youthful population and a certain placement, all this will be lost.
Right. But when you talk about the economic empowerment, the economic development of the country, you also have a country like US, which is talking about protectionism, America first, and it does have a ripple effect on other developing nations.
Let us not get carried away by local political rhetoric of that country. In every country, every government thinks, in India, Indian government must think India first. Tell me, hello?
That's true.
Our Prime Minister should talk India first. He may not use the term, but everybody is working as India first. There they're working America first. So they use America first to win an election. Let's not get carried away by that.
But before you wind up the interview, we talk about the modern day parenting, which is becoming a very big challenge, because with both the husband and the wife working, the children left home alone, and they just rely on the gadgets and all the technology which is available at hand. This is a very, very serious issue which is facing the society, especially in India at the moment, and of course in the Western countries as well. How do the modern day parents actually face this problem, and how do they really tackle this whole issue?
Don't say modern day, I think westernized parents.
Okay.
Why I'm saying this is, see, before we break any social structure, we must have a better structure ready. We break one structure without any clue, what are we going to do with the problems that arise? Any structure, however bad a structure is, some structure will be working, all right? Every structure will be working in a society at some level. If you break that, what is the alternate structure? Can the whole population make this trapeze bar jump? No, a whole lot of them will fall down. Some will jump successfully, rest will not jump. So when changes happen, if it's more organized and there is more consultation and all these things, it would be better. But that has not happened. Well, in Western countries, they have all kinds of babysitting arrangements, which you don't have here. So if we've brought in this thing that both man and woman will work today, so having children becomes a huge problem. At least till they're 5, 6 years of age, if they don't have that fundamental care, I don't think they grow up very well. And we have had the luxury of our mothers being there all the time. The value of that, I don't think you can ever evaluate that in economic value. Well, she did not earn a rupee, but the value of her life in our lives is immense. So, we have to not simply follow the West, because they're suffering immensely in the West. We don't have to go the same way. This does not mean women should not work. They should work, but we could do this in a more gentle way. We can do variety. See, today work is not necessarily all physical outside. There's a whole lot of work that you can do on your computers. Offices could be set up in the home atmospheres. It is very much possible.
But despite all these support systems which you're talking about, isn't our society also heading towards a westernized culture? Like, for example, children or the teenagers having sex at a very early age, and this is something which has already started in India as well.
See, one solution we are looking at is, I'm trying to push this concept of a one building city. Here there are offices, homes, schools, shopping, everything. And people work there, especially women. If they work there, if they have children, they can, stagger their times in so many different ways. They work in the same building, they're living in the same building, there's a wonderful forest and natural atmosphere around them, children will grow up in nice atmospheres. You must understand, in the West, Even though these situations are there, they have a lot of space, there is a lot of arrangements for them. Those arrangements and those spaces are missing in India. If you follow the same lifestyle, the suffering that will come to us will be many-fold more than what's happening to them.
So what's your one-line prescription to the political leaders, to the society, to the country, towards the last leg of the interview?
See, one important thing that needs to happen is economic development right now. For this to happen, we are thinking in so many ways, largely, doing things as other nations have done. But in our country, still 65% of our population is in the farming. And we have a latitudinal spread from Kanyakumari to Himalayas. We have a latitudinal spread where you can grow just about anything that anybody needs in the world, okay? And 12 months of the year. And we have a farming capability. This means intrinsic knowledge is there. If we don't make farming lucrative in the next 3 to 4 years' time, you will see, I've already kind of surveyed this. Not even 2% of the farmers in Tamil Nadu want their children to become farmers. In 15 to 25 years' time, we will lose the ability to grow food in this country. Soil is becoming weak, water is weak, we are losing out the farming capability which is there in the human beings right now. If we do this right, we can become the breadbasket of this world. And economic well-being will be well spread out. It is not just in one tall building in Mumbai, all the money is stored up. The economic well-being must be spread out for the well-being of the country. That can only happen in this nation if we make farming truly lucrative. So I think this is the way forward. Industry, everything must happen, but the largest number of people are involved in this sector. If you do not transform that in the next 3 to 5 years' time, we have a huge problem. We're talking about, 50% of the population, which is nearly 600 million people below 24 years of age. Youth is a tremendous energy. Only if you have them focused, skilled, inspired, they're fantastic. If you leave them unfocused, unskilled and uninspired, we have the biggest problem on our hands.
You've already given so many tips, so I'm sure all the political leaders and the people who are watching this interview will learn a lot from you. It was a pleasure talking to you, Sadhguru. It was a pleasure. So that's it on this episode of To The Point. See you next time with another personality. Goodbye and thanks for watching.